Bright Duty. Every student matters.
We can relate a few more applications of Newton's third law of motion. Let us see how. Now, a gun recoils when we fire a bullet from it. Now, one thing you need to remember, students, that we have said that action and reaction are equal and opposite. That is, the amount of force exerted on both the objects will be same in magnitude, but that force will not provide equal acceleration to both the objects. Why? Because the amount of acceleration produced by a force based on the second law of motion, F is equal to m into a, the amount of acceleration produced by a particular force is also dependent on the mass of the object. That we have studied in second law, that if I am applying some force on a bicycle, it is going to move steadily and accelerate, but the same amount of force may not even move a centimeter or an inch if I am applying that force to a truck. Similarly, we take the case of a gun and a bullet. Let us see. When a bullet is fired from the gun, then the bullet accelerates under the force, it accelerates in the forward direction with great speed. Now, the same amount of equal and opposite force is exerted on the gun also, but the gun is not going to go like the bullet. Right? Why? Because the mass of the gun is much more as compared to mass of the bullet. Therefore, we see just a recoil, just a jerk back whenever a bullet is fired. Got it? Another example that we can relate is the case of a rocket. Now, in the rocket, what happens is, we have seen that a rocket shoots up, it goes into the space. How does it happen? It is also based on Newton's third law of motion. How? Let us see the explanation part. Now, in that rocket, that is, the fuel is present, right? When those fuels are burnt, they produce huge amount of gases under high pressure, and these gases, they are just liberated and they exert pressure on the ground when these gases are released by the burning of the fuel in the rockets. Now, when these gases produce or exert force in the downward direction, equal and opposite force is exerted on the rocket, because of which it moves in the outer space in the upward direction. Similarly, we all must have used or seen the bow and arrow. What we do in a bow and arrow? We basically pull the string and we keep the bow there. When we pull it in our direction, then when we leave it, equal and opposite force makes the bow to go in the forward direction. Same is the case with the catapult, right? Fine. So, these are a few examples of Newton's third law of motion.